Yesterday, Union Bank, one of Nigeria's second oldest commercial bank, released its numbers. Part of the stories that Temple Ashaju, our business correspondent, one of our business correspondents at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, is speaking to us about this morning, bringing us up to speed. The stock market is still sluggish. The NURTW over the counter took a bit of a bigger beating yesterday, but the fixed income market still a bit red hot. So, Temple, good morning. Welcome to the program. Take us through the market numbers, this in summary, how we fared on the second trading day of the week.
Sure, Bosin, good morning. Thanks for joining us here in the Stock Exchange. Okay, yesterday we actually lost about 70 billion naira was what we lost in the markets yesterday in terms of equities now. Was decline of some 0.51%. Of course, that was like backtracking all of the gains that we recorded on Monday. And so it brought back the market to the negative territory. Of course, that expanded again the year-to-date performance of the market, which is now year-to-date losses actually, so 12.42%. If you look at the activity level, it was a little bit positive there. We saw activity rising on the interest of investors in Access Bank and, of course, Guarantee Trust Bank. These two key companies contributed to the level of activity that we saw yesterday in the market, in spite of the fact that we had just 6 gainers and 23 losers. Yesterday in the market, the losers outweighed the gainers in the signs. So 170 million units of shares was traded for just a value of 2.26 billion naira in the markets yesterday. FBN was down. Of course, ETI was flat yesterday. But Access Bank did some 164 basis points. But when you look at what that translates to for the sectoral performances in terms of the banks, it didn't change anything. The gains from Access Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank wasn't able to actually push up that index, which was down some 0.72% yesterday. Consumer goods segment of the market was also down 0.12%, in spite of some gains that we've seen around Dangote flour. That wasn't able to neuter the losses in that system. Industrial goods segment was where the attention was in the market yesterday, because we saw some investors continue to put down money for long-term, medium to long-term investments on WAPCO. WAPCO recorded some 1.40% gains yesterday. CCNN actually got some gains, some 3.46% for some investors that are really anticipating some kind of dividends payments. Possibly it will come from CCNN. That's how I'm waiting for the numbers for this particular company. However, knowing that the market actually opened in green yesterday, at midday, close to the end of the trading period, we saw Dangote percent losing some steam there, 1.72% decline yesterday, and that was what made the industrial goods segment market to close flat yesterday. Insurance segment of the market was down 2.77%. Continental Reinsurance was down the most yesterday, was on the offer cat yesterday, and that impacted massively on the sector. That's a company that went on suspension, that was suspended sometimes late last year, but got its suspension lifted on the 2nd of August, that's a Friday. Oil and gas segment of the market, nothing much really happening there. We know that corn oil retained its position there, 16 naira 60 kobo. Forte oil backtracked some gains yesterday to 18 naira 30 kobo. And of course, O&O was negative 6.33%. We saw some investors taking profits on the side of the market.
Okay, thank you so much, Tempo, taking a bit of a wrap of the stock market on Tuesday. We'll get a bit more sense of how today's trading day is kicking off later on the show with Edition Inwang. Thank you so much, Tempo, for being part of the show this morning. Okay, so let's check in on our markets. This is Wednesday, the third trading day. Let's start with the debt market, where Choma Udu is standing by. She's a fixed income dealer at GT Bank. She's live to us from FMDQ Exchange Place. Good morning, Choma. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Boson. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to get together again for the first time since the new month started, I guess.
Yes, it is. It's an exciting month. Coming in today, we've seen the CBN come into the markets. There's an OMO auction of about 100 billion on offer. We hope that there's going to be a lot of interest there. We know there's going to be a lot of interest there because there's a lot of liquidity in the system. We opened the market about 300 billion long, so it's a welcome development from the central bank.
Yes, of course. You're looking happy. If you are part of a 300 billion naira liquidity, I'm sure this is a time for you to sit back a little bit on your workstation and try to say, okay, so where do I pitch? Let me look at the yield curve. Where can I pitch in at the moment? So what's hot on the yield curve?
Yesterday in the market, we saw a bearish sentiment where we saw a lot of rediscounting at the short end of the curve. We've seen investors trying to rejig their portfolio in anticipation of an OMO auction. Today coming in, we've seen an OMO auction of about 100 billion. And then tomorrow, we have a maturity of about 109 OMO auction. And we see the CBN, we expect that the CBN will come in and retap. So there's going to be a series, we expect that there's going to be a series of OMO auctions to try and work the liquidity in the system to create a balance in the yields.
Mm. With the mature treasury's repayments tomorrow as well?
Yes, we expect that there's going to be retapping from the CBN to manage the yields in the system. However, we also expect that CBN will come in because if they reissue assets, it's going to help FPIs with inflow of FX in the market. So with the treasury yields, Fed's treasury yields about 2%, I think our emerging markets with yields of about 13.95 on the almost space Nigeria should be a good opportunity for you to invest.
What are you hearing about what's going on out there in the global space with the currency war, with the trade tariff fisticuffs between Washington and Beijing? What are you hearing from offshore investors about their position on emerging frontier markets, Nigeria inclusive?
Okay, I'll start with the trade wars between the U.S. and the Chinese. The U.S. has accused the Chinese government of manipulating their currency. I'll explain what manipulation of currency means. Currency means if you do not allow your currency value to be decided by demand and supply. On the one hand, the Chinese currency is a closed currency, and we've known that for a while. And the central bank cited some points stating that there was direct intervention in the market. They declared excess surplus current accounts, and then they declared excess trade accounts. So they are trying to say that they manipulated the currency. But however, the Chinese government has said no, and I think it's a reaction on the sanction thrown to the Chinese government, the U.S. So we saw the Chinese yuan devalue to 17%, about a 2% devaluation, which hasn't happened in a long time. So for us, for countries that import from the Chinese government, it makes importation cheaper for them and more appealing. Speaking to the emerging markets, the Fed reduced their benchmark rates by a quarter in July, which makes it easier for the FPIs to borrow from the Fed, from the United States, and try and reinvest in emerging markets such as Egypt, Nigeria, where they can purchase high-yielding assets.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Chemaudu of GT Bank, fixed income dealer at GT Bank. Thank you so much from FMDQ Exchange Place. Do have a great day. Let's check in with the stock market, shall we? Union Bank numbers came in yesterday. A bit of a bittersweet story. Net profit came in better by 4% in the first half of the current year. But a few other indices down there were in the negative territory. The bank says its net interest income, its interest income was down again because there were a bit of issues with how the financial assets and all of that taking place. So if you want to read up on all of that, that's Nigeria's second largest, or second oldest commercial bank, second oldest Nigerian commercial bank. But of course, we're still waiting for the big boys. UBA says the directors will be meeting around August the 22nd to look at the numbers for the bank. So keep that in mind as well. So let's talk to Edidion Inweng, one of our business correspondents, live to us from the stock exchange. This time she's on the trading floor. Good morning, Eddie.
morning, Bosin.
Yes, I'm sure you saw the opening bell today, Wednesday. So give me, what are the early news and information from the marketplace that we can chew together as we start today's trading day? Was it Two-Face Idibia? Is it the, is it still a news here? He's the new ambassador, what you call the good course ambassador for the stock exchange. Are the brokers talking about Two-Face Idibia? And what else are they talking about? Or they're more interested in the state of the market?
Well, no one's talking about that anymore at this time. But we've seen, marginal gains in the market today. The market is currently up 0.03%, and we've seen about, 10 million shares traded so far. Out of the 10 million, 6.88, are from FCMB Bank, while 1.4 million come from Lasaco. Now, we believe that, shareholders or stakeholders, are responding to Lasaco's news yesterday. The company declared dividend of 5 kobo per 50 kobo ordinary share, and this will be paid to investors or shareholders whose names are in the registers of members as at the close of business on the 16th of August. Meanwhile, the registers will be closed on Monday the 19th, from Monday the 19th to the 23rd. So hopefully by the 19th of September, shareholders will be smiling to the bank or different ATM points, because that is when they will be paid. Now, in other news, Universal Insurance, notified the stock exchange, shareholders, stakeholders, and the investing public that it has partnered with the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers to be the official underwriter of the Passengers Manifest Scheme. Now, this scheme is designed to ensure that passengers traveling by road across the country have their names, authenticated in the union's digital manifest, and this would also ensure that they have insurance, like genuine insurance. So hopefully, Bosin, if this partnership works out well, we hope that it would go a long way in improving insurance awareness and penetration in the country.
I like that. That's music to my ears, Eddie, when you talk about, I'm sure the road safety folks will also be happy. Millions and millions of Nigeria who travel by road will think that is very good to have insurance and know that this very large body holding millions of Union of Road Transport Workers consider insurance for folks who travel by road. That's safety, that's protecting lives, and this making everybody comfortable. And that's a nice one there. Thank you so much, where you got the road transport story right out of the trading floor. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you on the afternoon show. Edition Ewang, one of our business correspondents. Let's leave it there for today, everyone. We'll come back tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning, here on Business Morning. Don't be late.